I'm just going to say this up front, guys. Do not buy James Cameron's latest white guilt Frontiers of Colonialism game from Ubisoft. This game is hands down going to be the most woke video game of 2023 and probably of the last decade, hands down, and I don't even think it's a question. I mean, forget the fact that this is once again going to be an over-bloated Ubisoft open-world Far Cry clone, but this game and anything in the Avatar franchise is literally James Cameron's attempt to force feed you as much political propaganda as he can and shove it down your throat until the point that you're just about to throw up from how much shit he tries to get you to swallow. So do yourself a favor and literally play any of the other great games that released this year. You are not going to be missing out by skipping yet another generic open world Ubisoft game with a ton of woke messaging shoved in at every opportunity.
Hey, Sully. How's it feel to betray your own race?
You will never be one of the people!
How's it feel to betray your own race?
Become a human again! Stop being weak! We got a bunch of criminals coming down on us! God. Ugh. Murdering scum. I want to get humanity awake. I want to get our forces up. And then I want to bring these people to justice, and you know what I mean. You know what I mean. I want to unleash humanity, not have a bunch of con artists, pot-bellied, chicken neck pieces of garbage running our world.
How's it feel to betray your own race?
But what's up, guys? I hope y'all are having a great day today, just full of so much positivity and happiness, dude, because today we're going to be talking about one of my personal favorite media franchises of all time, and that, of course, is none other than James Cameron's Avatar.
You not be your happy. You will never be one of the people!
Now, if somehow you are not familiar with the Avatar franchise at this point, which I highly doubt, because the media at every opportunity is trying to brainwash people and convince them that this is the greatest thing to ever touch movie screens, even though it's literally just a boring, generic blue monkey man, white guilt self-insert storyline about colonialism, which, yeah, if you guys aren't familiar with this, basically the entire Avatar franchise is an allegory for James Cameron's white guilt over his ancestors colonizing the Americas. And if you don't believe me, just listen real quick. I'll try to make it very, very simple. A group of people arrive at a foreign land and interact with the native population that at first treats them nicely, but then the people who arrive on this native land start wars with the natives, killing them off, taking their land and resources in order to enrich themselves. I mean, where have we heard this narrative from before? So that is the entire premise of the Avatar franchise. It is James Cameron expressing his white guilt over the colonialization of North and South America and basically his own headcanon version for how he wished it would have played out. And the whole idea behind the main character of Avatar being handicapped is also very symbolic, saying that even if just one person, regardless of how powerless they were, would have stood up, then things could have been so different and millions of innocent people wouldn't have been massacred. Like, this entire franchise is dripping in woke political ideology to the point where it literally just can't even be enjoyed, in my opinion. I mean, even as a child, when I saw this movie when it first came out, I immediately drew the parallels because back when I was growing up, I think I was like 11 or 12 at the time, I remember, like, this is right when people started to kind of attack Columbus Day and say that it's a racist holiday and all this type of shit and a celebration of genocide and all that sort of thing. So I know exactly why and the message that this movie was created to portray, and it was blatantly obvious to me back then, and it's definitely even more blatantly obvious in today's day and age. And I think you would have to just be completely willfully ignorant to ignore the insanely unsubtle political undertones that this franchise highlights. I mean, I wouldn't even call them undertones at that point. It's the entire fucking plot. I mean, the story literally revolves around the guy that betrays the human race for a bunch of alien monkey men, dude.
Hey, Sully. How's it feel to betray your own race?
You will never be one of the people!
And he puts his clicker and puts an image of a human up there. And all the little anti-human control freaks, you know, that mommy never disciplined, like get off on the thrill of, we're gonna kill everybody. Gates laughs with
Yeah, that's not exactly what I would call subtle. And then when you pair it with some of the just absolutely retarded shit that James Cameron has said in recent history, you know, you really have to question why anyone with a sane mind would even engage in this dog shit fucking franchise to any degree whatsoever, unless they're one of those blue-haired degenerates you find on Twitter that believe that anyone slightly to the right of Karl Marx is a white supremacist, dude.
I mean, it's just like scum, Nazi filth, trash, garbage, maggots. We are all ruled by little chicken neck Nellies going, kill everybody. I get off when I talk about cutting people's power off. I'm a Nelly.
I mean, James Cameron is literally one of those guys that's on record saying, I always think of testosterone as a toxin that you have to slowly work out of your system. A lot of things I did earlier I wouldn't do career-wise and just risks that you take as a wild testosterone poisoned young man. Well, that would explain why his earlier movies are way better than the newer ones, because all that testosterone or poison is working its way out of his body and he's becoming the pure soy-filled beast he was destined to be.
Soylent, a company focused on enhancing your nutrition through delicious and conveniently packaged drinks. One of my goals for 2023 is to hit the gym frequently, bulk up and get fit, as well as enhance my diet and health in general, and for that purpose, Soylent has fit perfectly into my life. The package I received was the Variety Pack, featuring a wide range of flavors including strawberry, vanilla, chocolate, chocolate mint, cafe mocha, and banana. I tried every single one of these, and not only did I think that they were all delicious, I also loved how creamy and smooth the drink's texture was. I actually looked forward to drinking Soylent every day, be it before or after a workout or before or after a meal. And beyond that, the 20 grams of soy-based protein that each bottle offered was perfect for my dietary needs during my bulking phase. Beyond protein, Soylent drinks also offer various macro and micronutrients beneficial to one's health, all backed by science and clinical research.
So yeah, TLDR, Avatar is an insanely over-politicized white guilt fantasy by a self-hating white straight male by the name of James Cameron, and this movie is literally nothing more than a bunch of woke political ideology disguised as a science fiction action franchise. And honestly, I wouldn't even interact with this game just for that fact alone, and that's not even taking into account of just how piss poor you know the actual game is going to turn out, because it's coming from everyone's favorite open world simulator developer, that of course being none other than Ubisoft. If you've played Far Cry 3, 4, 5, 6, or better yet, Primal, then you know exactly how Avatar Frontiers of Pandora is going to pan out. And no, I was not trying to set myself up for that. But anyway, if you've played one of these fucking games, you know exactly what this shit's gonna be like. But this time around, they're making it even more ambitious and large in scale, dude, which equates to more time of you aimlessly flying or walking around an open world environment for no fucking reason other to get from point A to point B to pad out the runtime of the game, because for some fucking reason, people equate length to actual value when it comes to video games nowadays. Not how much fun you're actually having in those hours spent in the game, but if you can squeeze 100 hours out of the most mundane, boring, and basic video game activities, somehow that presents a better value proposition to the average normie who buys video games than a fun 8 to 15 hour long experience that's actually meaningful from start to finish. You know, just another wonderful side effect of the modern gaming market, but this wonderful game from Ubisoft is going going to be even worse than 90% of the games in that regard, because not only is this going to be Ubisoft's largest open world game to date, but it's also going to be the one that's the most reliant on traversal and exploring than ever before, because not only do you have like the actual map, but then you have all these floating islands you have to traverse and explore as well. And I can already see from watching the footage of this game, it's going to be fly in a straight line for 15 minutes to one side of the map, get an item, and then fly all the way back. That's just what every single Ubisoft open world game has devolved into at this point, and I don't see this game being any different than that. In fact, I think it's going to be even worse compared to a lot of other games, because when you're playing as Blue Monkey Men, there's not really many activities you can do besides go to this area, collect this item, or go to this area and kill this person. So this game is probably not going to have a lot of variety when it comes to mission structure, especially in regards to the side activities. I mean, this is just going to be Ubisoft padding at its absolute worst, in my opinion. And in all honesty, bro, the gameplay that we've seen thus far does not even look that good. Now, granted, games journalists, well, actually, no, I think Ubisoft provided them footage. I don't think they were allowed to show their own, so scratch that. Now, the footage, I guess, that Ubisoft has shown off, which, you know, isn't really very flattering, but the footage that they've allowed people to show off makes the game just not look very good, in my opinion. It literally just looks like a reskinned Far Cry, but worse. Like, what's really odd to me is because this game forces you to play as the Blue Monkey Men, the Navi, I think is what they're called, if I remember correctly. But yeah, you have to play as the Navi and kill humans because humanity bad, blue monkey aliens good, dude. You know, gotta make sure that we brainwash people to, you know, turn on their own kind. But yeah, already that's where the game loses me, because I don't want to fucking play as the blue monkeys. I'd rather be a human just mowing them down personally, like you could in the original Avatar game that came out on 360, which I actually ordered a copy of that recently because that shit sounds based as fuck and I kind of want to try it out. But yeah, I don't know, man. Like, this whole concept of the game loses me. Like, I understand a lot of people who aren't, like, I guess, politically aware might not see an issue with this, but, you know, to each their own. If you want to overlook it and enjoy the game regardless, that's fine. I just personally can't. Maybe it's because I'm a terminally online retard, but, you know, that's up for you to decide. But when it comes down to it and how I'm going to spend my money, it's so easy to pass on a dog shit game like this, in all honesty. Like, especially this year, bro. There's so many better candidates out there for games to spend your time and money on. It's not even a fucking decision, in my opinion, on whether or not you should play this. But going back to the original point I was getting at before I got sidetracked, something that I've noticed about this game is everything in the world looks super off scale. Like, it looks like Ubisoft took their existing, like, open world elements and just scaled everything up ever so slightly to make it fit with, like, the Navi character models. Like, everything just looks way too large in scope to look realistic. I don't know. Maybe you'll notice it, maybe you won't, maybe it won't bother you, maybe I'm just, like, getting autistic over the details. I'm not entirely sure, but when I was watching the gameplay, especially in the human kind of settings, everything just looked really off. Like, they unnecessarily made everything overscaled in order to make it so that you could enter different buildings and interact with the human environments better. So something about it looked really off, and you can kind of tell that they're just kind of piecemealing a bunch of their other open world games together to reskin it in order to label this an Avatar game, when we really know this is basically just another fucking Far Cry reskin for the 800th time, which is in typical Ubisoft fashion. So nothing really surprising there, but there's just something really off about this game. Also, the other thing too is when you're exploring the open world, you'll notice there's fucking fog everywhere because they don't want to have to render the entire world at once. Like, people always brag about, like, volumetric fog and all this type of shit. That is literally a method used by game developers to prevent them having to render the entirety of the backdrop all at once. So fog in a video game, contrary to popular belief, is not a positive thing. It's literally a technique used by game developers to make it so the game is less hardware intensive. And on top of that, there are segments in this game from the gameplay I've watched where it's almost like there's a blue Instagram filter over it and everything looks super fucking washed, bro. Like, everything's either an insane tint of blue or the contrast is, like, obnoxiously fucking high to make it look more, I guess, colorful and vibrant. And I don't know, something really looks off visually with this game. The animations are super fucking jank. Like, this game just looks really low budget, and like if Ubisoft was about about to lose the license and they were forced to just release something, so they all scrambled to piece something together that kind of looks like Avatar, but in reality is just yet another Far Cry 3 reskin from Ubisoft. And that's not even taking into account that Diabetes Fetus has their grubby little mitts all over this. You know, check out this video that's on screen right now if you want to learn more about this particular organization, because it's quite interesting, I'll tell you that. But considering the fact that they are partnered with Ubisoft and Ubisoft is on their client list, my guess is their grubby little mitts are all over this shit. And not only is this storyline going to be just as woke as anything you could find in a James Cameron movie, but possibly even fucking worse, dude, if that's somehow possible. But I say all that to say this, just save your money, guys. Like, honestly, I would avoid this game like the fucking plague. The fact that they're trying to charge $130 for the most expensive version of this game digitally is fucking batshit crazy, bro. Like, this game to me just screams cash grab. It looks like a fucking asset flip. It looks like they completely half-assed it. It's literally Far Cry Primal, but in an Avatar setting and an unnecessarily massive open world that's just gonna serve as a time sink to make you feel like you got more game than you actually did, even though you're gonna spend 90% of your time going from point A to point B on the map. So overall, man, I would avoid this game like the fucking plague personally, or at least wait until a very, very, very deep discount, like pretty much every single Ubisoft game goes on within a year after release. Like, if you really are fiending to play this game, get that fucking Ubisoft Plus subscription, play it for $15 and just cancel the subscription after your first month, and that way you're not financially investing too much money into this shit. Because honestly, bro, I would not want to play this game personally. I'm sure someone in my stream chat will, you know, bless me with a copy or get me to play it because, you know, they love to watch me suffer. But overall, man, I have zero intention of playing this slop, and I don't think you should either. But anyway, guys, that is going to do it for this video today. If you did enjoy it, make sure to drop a like on it. I would greatly appreciate it. Also, I just want to say thanks for all the support on the channel recently. I've been sick for like the past week or so, like really sick to the point where I just have like a constant headache, and it's finally starting to go away. So fingers crossed, I'll be back into the full swing of creating consistent content for you guys. But really appreciate all the support on the channel recently. You guys are the fucking best, and I really do appreciate it. So with that shit said, I will catch you guys next time.